folks, Ben here from the Fibreglass factory. Today I'm going to be showing you how to modify a scoop to fit a particular bonnet. So this is an old roughie that we had lying around, just for illustration purposes only. But as you can see, it's a little way out. So we're fitting this universal scoop onto this BA Falcon bonnet, which is also a bit of a roughie. It's had a scoop fitted to it. And we're going to fit something else. Alright, so what I'm going to be looking at the moment is I'm looking at where it fits and where it doesn't. So it actually doesn't fit too bad through here. This scoop's got a bit of flex in the flange, which is pretty helpful. I'm still thinking about probably cutting through here, because it's sitting up about 6 mil there, and we sort of need it to sit down perfect. Through here we're sort of touching about here, so I'm going to mark the scoop with my finger, and we'll do a cut on the other side as well. This is going to turn the scoop into a skeleton, so the front of it can come down, and we're going to go another slit here. That could be determined after the first slit, but I've done enough of these to know that we're going to need another one to make this one work. Alright, so let's get a couple of cuts in it. Alright, so we've taken that out. I ended up taking a little bit more out as well. Probably didn't have to take quite as much out of that back one, but this front one was curving quite a bit. As you can see now, it's closed right up, and we'll be able to screw that down, and it'll fit quite well. So the next thing to do is to have a look at the back. We'll take a bit out of the back just to get that back section to sit down a bit further. So we'll mark that. So we're going to take the bit of the flange off here. And we'll do the same on the other side. It's called the finger marker. Doesn't work too bad actually. That's fitting really good now. You want to be really careful not to take too much off, because it's a lot harder to fix it after you've taken too much off. Just take a little bit off at a time. So that would, if we were blending this in, that would blend in quite nicely. If we were bolting it down, then we'd have to probably wax this and then fiberglass that up there to recreate that shape there, because it doesn't fit properly. This would be too long, so we'd probably trim it back here, depending on the bonnet. Probably trim it back to there all the way around, and then I'd try and reshape this section here to sort of match that there back here though. Oh, there it would be. I'd sort of just sort of shape it a bit, and I'd strengthen in behind the cowl too. Depending on how strong the cowl is to start with. If it's already got a big fat lip, then sometimes it won't be strong enough to just cut the back off and it'd be fine. Other times it'll be okay. Depends on who's built the cowl. Alright, so we're getting this sorted out. What I might do is just bang some screws in it, and then I can show you how we join this back together. Okay? Alright folks, so we've just got a couple of screws here. This doesn't quite fit perfect here, but for moulding purpose it's fine. At the front, try and put clamps on here where you can, because the less holes you put in the bonnet the better. So this is fitting quite well here. It's sort of kicked up a tiny bit at the edge here, but when you go to mould it in, you can just sort of trim it back a bit, sort of this way, and trim it back so that it comes back to just sitting perfect on the bonnet. Alright, so that comes down quite easily. That'd be just fine. here we've just got to join this back together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grind a V into this, and we're going to fiberglass over the top, and then we'll flip it over and we'll glass the inside as well. Okay. Alright, so we've ground out a bit of a V here. We want to make sure it's fairly like a fairly good V, because otherwise we'll be grinding most of this material off, and you want to have something holding it together on the outside, and then you will also have something holding it together on the inside. But this is important to have a good V, so you want to go almost most of the way through it, okay, once you get to the very middle. So there's at least sort of a mil, you want at least a mil of material there. Alright, so, and then we're just going to put one layer over the top. So I'm going to mix up some resin, just polyester resin. So, put in there, we're going to go about 2.5% catalyst, and you won't have access to this probably, but I'm going to use a little bit of DMA just to speed it up, which is a promoter that we use. Alright, give it a good mix. And we start to wet it out. Once this has gone off, you'll do the same on the other side. Once this has gone off, you know, probably for a batch that's got no DMA in it, you probably don't want to be pulling it off for at least 4 or 5 hours, maybe on a warm day. And if it's a cold day, you probably don't want to pull it off for a day. Pull it out the next day, and then you can glass the other side. Get it nice and strong, and it'll be in the right shape to fit the particular bonnet that you're making it fit. And then you'll be able to start to finish off this cut in sections piece. And then if you're bolting it down, you might just trim this flange along a bit so it fits a bit nicer. And probably do something with the front, trim a bit more off the front. If you're moulding it in, same sort of thing, you'll apply your glue and glue it down, and then trim it back a little bit to suit. Alright. Now we don't need to roll it out if we just make sure we get all the air out of it. In the old days they never had rollers. They only ever used a brush. You got these luxuries these days. Alright folks, so we've glassed it down. We've got it in position, we've glassed it in. Now we're just going to pull these screws out. Then we can clean this up, and then flip it over and glass the other side. As you can see, it's now sitting in the right position that we need it to be, which is fantastic. So we've ground it back. Now this only requires regular body work now to finish off, which could easily be done while you're moulding it into the bonnet. Alright, the next step is to prepare the other side. So here it is prepared. We just run over it with the grinder, and then we lay a sheet of glass over there. This can be very thin here because this is going to be the gluing surface. It'll be repeated on the opposite side, and then there's another sheet over there. You don't have to actually do the glass on the inside, but it's going to produce it's going to be better, stronger result. So I recommend it. Then you could start to glue it down from here. You could prepare this surface and prepare the bonnet, and then glue it down and start to mould it in, which we'll talk about in another video. I hope it's been helpful, and let us know if you've got any questions about anything that we've done today. And thanks for watching. See ya.